Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I regularly receive the question, do I really need an immigration lawyer for my case? And the answer is, it depends. It depends on the type of case, it depends on your immigration history, it depends on the complexity. Today we're going to be going through several different types of cases and determining whether or not you should consider speaking with an immigration lawyer. The first thing we're going to be discussing is whether you should apply for adjustment of status by yourself or whether you should pay a lawyer to help you apply or apply for you. And during the consultation, when a client asks me, can I do this by myself? I'm married a US citizen, can I apply for the green card by myself or do I need to hire you? My answer is, you can do it by yourself, but if you make a mistake, it's going to end up costing you 1 to 2 years. You're going to end up repaying the nearly $1,800 government filing fee, and you're going to create mistakes that I might not be able to fix down the road. If you have 40 hours to dedicate to learning everything there is to know about adjusting status to permanent residence, then do it. But if you are not really willing to take that much risk, hire a lawyer. A topic that's closely related to adjusting status is removing conditions on your residency, filing Form I-751 petition to remove conditions. Now, generally speaking, this is a form that you could file by yourself if you are still in a good faith marriage and you've been continuing to save evidence for the last 2 years. However, if you're separated or considering divorce or divorced, I really urge you to hire a lawyer. You should not do it by yourself. It can become really complicated. You will eventually probably have to attend an immigration interview, and you need a lawyer to take you through the complexities of removing conditions when you're not in a good faith marriage. Another topic that's somewhat related to this down the road, down the timeline of adjusting your status, is naturalization. Now, for naturalization, there are a lot of pitfalls. I would generally recommend hiring a lawyer when you're naturalizing. There are some exceptions, but at the very least, consult with a lawyer and see whether your case is straightforward or whether there are serious issues you should consider. Some things that I like to screen for during naturalization interviews is whether or not you've been paying taxes correctly the whole time, whether or not you've had any interactions whatsoever with law enforcement, whether you've departed the United States for longer than 6 months, or meet all the other nuances of maintaining continuous presence in the United States to not create a gap in your timeline for citizenship, because that can actually result in a denial of your citizenship application. So at the very least, if you're considering naturalizing by yourself, speak with an immigration lawyer first. The next category I want to talk about is DACA, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. If you're submitting an initial DACA application, or TPS application for that matter, it's the very first application, then you should use a lawyer. There are many things a lawyer could screen for that you might not know and might not be able to understand without the assistance of a lawyer. But when it comes to renewing your DACA application, the answer is, it depends. It depends on the circumstances in your life and the specifics of your case. At the very least, if you think you have a super clean case, you haven't had any interactions with law enforcement, you don't think anything has changed since your previous DACA application, I would recommend getting a copy of the initial DACA filing from your previous lawyer and using the info from that to renew your application if everything is still accurate and correct. The final topic I want to discuss in this video is applying for asylum. This is fear of persecution in your home country or country you've lived in. Now, I will unequivocally say you should never file asylum without the assistance of an immigration lawyer. I wouldn't even submit the initial basic application without a lawyer. There are so many subtle nuances to asylum that can get your case denied that even if you think you clearly qualify for asylum, I assure you, your case can get denied for the slightest oversight. And the only person who can really explain all of these things to you is an immigration lawyer who's had some experience with asylum applications in the past. I have seen situations all across the board, and the statistics of getting your asylum case granted with a lawyer versus without a lawyer are dramatic. And I would never tell anybody they should or could apply for asylum without the assistance of an immigration lawyer. Once a month, I do consultations with a nonprofit organization, and I was meeting with this guy who had a really strong asylum application, and he had a final trial date in 2 months. And I asked him, I'm like, who's your lawyer on this case? And he said, oh, I'm representing myself. And I really tried my best to assure him that he needs to hire a lawyer. But he said something to me that was like, well, I met with a lawyer, and the lawyer said it's going to cost $15,000 for me and each family member, and I have a wife and kid, so it's going to cost like $45,000 to apply for asylum. And I said, first of all, I kind of think that's a crazy price. You should get a second opinion, because you could probably find a lawyer who will do it for less than a third of that price for the whole case. And also, you know, there's money and there's the rest of your life. And 10 years from now, you might not remember whether or not you spent, I don't know, $5,000 to $15,000 on your asylum defense. But you will remember whether or not you're still in the United States illegally or now a US citizen. So I really tried my best to explain this to him. I really hope he took my advice. I don't know. But I will urge you that if you think you have a strong asylum case, speak with an immigration lawyer. A persuasive reason to use a lawyer is because the lawyer is tasked with staying up to date with all of the most recent policy changes and immigration law changes. For example, you might find a guide start to finish on how to apply for adjustment of status. But with the last president, with President Trump, there were dramatic changes taking place on almost a weekly basis. And the guide you found on Visa Journey on how to apply for a green card is probably not applicable. And there were all of these public charge changes, new forms that needed to be filed, old forms that were becoming outdated regularly. And this is just a lot of stuff. A lot of bandwidth is required to stay on top of all of this. If you're an immigrant in the United States, your life is complicated enough. You don't need to overcomplicate things by trying to take on a whole new field of law by yourself without the assistance of a trained professional. If you require any assistance with any type of immigration matter, my office and I personally are available to consult and assist you with this matter. You can always call, text, or email my office to schedule a consultation. If you guys are interested in more topics like this video, put your topic ideas in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week for another video.